That's right, ladies and gentlemen. In the most Dinesh Karthik of fashions, it's time for another BBC comeback. And the two OGs of cricketing knowledge are here to bring to you some top quality content with some low quality budget. So, with a big round of applause, we welcome ourselves back. And I am Sachit Prasanna, and with me is Sumukh Anant. And we are Big Brain Cricket, brought to you by the Benki Bengaluru boys.
Oh, alright. After 17 years, 17 long years since 2007, that is India's first victory in the T20 World Cup, Dinesh Karthik has finally announced that's the batting coach and manager of Royal Challengers Bangalore. Yes, DK, you finally heard us, you didn't finish.
Didn't finish.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, let's go to the Caribbean and the USA.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of poetic that we're moving to the 2024 edition of the T20 World Cup when Dinesh Karthik was the first ever man of the match that was in the first ever edition of the T20 World Cup. And, it's a nice little transition into the T20 World Cup of 2024. So, what we're going to look at today is basically the summary of everything that's happened throughout the World Cup. We're going to cover a bit the Minnows, especially Pakistan, in a little bit of a short and sweet format. And we're going to look at a large part of how India has performed and take a look at what we think about it.
Let's start with the Minnows. Nepal, Papua New Guinea. Is that how it's pronounced?
Papua New Guinea.
Papua New Guinea. I don't know, where does it land on the world map? Next to Africa?
Wherever. I mean, see, in Africa you have a lot of fathers disappearing. So maybe they all go to Papua New Guinea.
Then we have Oman and Canada.
Canada, Punjab.
Oh, of course, our cows from Cowland. It's funny they announced that how Oman has made into World Cup twice now.
Yeah.
And UAE has been playing cricket since 2000. With the oil money, they haven't made any progress. They haven't imported anyone from the Caribbean. But smartly enough, Oman made it to the top end.
It was surprising because you have Oman and Uganda who both played like absolute shit. And you start wondering whether Zimbabwe was really right on missing out on this. And it's the contrast to this is the fact that Zimbabwe is now playing a T20 series against India with I don't know where that confidence comes from. If they're ready to let Oman and Uganda qualify ahead of them, then God bless
that was
Zimbabwe.
Just Jayshaw's pre-plan in case it didn't go well according to the script in the finals.
Correct.
So pre-planned nevertheless, so Zimbabwe will be getting some money. Hopefully they can survive for few more years.
Alright, so we'll start off with Nepal, I guess, because
they are our neighbors.
Pakkad mane.
Yeah.
You look at Nepal and you think, how is Sandeep Lamichhane still playing? I don't know if we should discuss what the history is behind Sandeep Lamichhane. But let's just say that he made Benzema really proud.
But how did he get the visa? I couldn't see him in the US, but he was there in the West Indies.
I mean, there's a lot of things that happen in the background that we have not too much information about. But they did play well though. Nepal did put on a decent show against South Africa and also against Bangladesh. Both pretty close games, a decent display of cricketing skill. But I mean, they nearly pulled it off against South Africa, and we might not have played South Africa in the finals
if that happened. Lazy running and the last ball, South Africa was so gone in that game.
Correct.
But yet again, it was Henrich Klaasen who brought them back.
Indeed.
Yet again. To the games.
Yeah, Klaasen was top quality in this entire World Cup. I mean, we'll get to that later, but the last ball all you need to do is complete that single, and you run like Harmanpreet Kaur in that World Cup final against Australia.
Lot of must-win games, but it's the last ball. You must be running for your life.
Exactly. Well, I mean, Quentin de Kock did land a good throw.
Nepalese can learn a lot from Avesh Khan, yeah.
Yeah.
You can learn how to run in the final ball.
Indeed.
Just leave the crease. Leave the crease.
All you need to do is leave the crease. PNG, on the other hand, good show again against the West Indies. Didn't really expect the West Indies to try so hard against PNG because you look at the kind of pitches that they were playing on. It was a little bit more helpful for the bowlers, but that didn't mean that the West Indies had to struggle by losing 5 or 6 wickets against PNG and depend on Andre Russell to really pull them back into the game later. I mean, if you look at the scorecard, it looked like an easy win, but anyone who watched the match in reality knows how much.
64-6 or
exactly, yeah, there was a huge struggle.
And Sharfin Rutherford,
Yeah.
RCB blood.
RCB blood.
Yeah, who brought them back into the game, and it was a close one. But good job, PNG. See you in the next World Cup if you qualify. So moving on to our cows.
What can I say about Canada?
Canada is the only team that went on to share 1 point with India and go undefeated in this World Cup.
Correct.
Great job, Canada.
Yeah, we were unable to beat Canada, and I think that's also because Ashdeep Singh was in the after party in the Canada dressing room instead of the Indian dressing room. It's understandable. It's the Punjabi squad after all. But yes.
Yeah, I think we have good relationships with India and Canada, and we share 1 point and move ahead. Good job, Canada.
Sure. Now coming to the teams that have been in the mix of things for a really long time, but for some reason have never taken their game forward. I mean, we've seen Ireland, Scotland, Namibia, and Netherlands in the mix of things for a really long time now, and I seriously expected more from Ireland this time.
Yeah, after watching the series before the World Cup, Ireland versus Pakistan, I really expected more from Ireland, but they were the disappointing green colored team this time. I don't know.
Yeah, and you'd expect Ireland to beat Minnows like Pakistan in the group stage at least. So yeah, the fact that they finished at the bottom of Group A was not something that was pleasant for those guys.
I think Ireland is done after the O'Briens have moved on.
Yeah, after the O'Briens retired, there's been a downhill
That's it.
fall for Ireland.
Maybe just 1 win, satisfactory win for Pakistan, so that they can safely reach their homes.
Indeed.
Well and good.
Yeah.
Green colour teams, bashing, done. Moving on to Scotland.
Scotland was good, and that's
Nandini.
probably Nandini, exactly. Nandini represents. Scotland was top class, and I would honestly like to start a petition, and I would like you to be the first person to sign that petition for a tri-series, an Ashes tri-series between England, Australia and Scotland, because it is time to incorporate a top level team like Scotland into this tri-series, because those guys really handed it to England and Australia. They were so close to qualifying, and if not for a little bit of grace from the gods up there, the showers really ruined their chances. But yeah, if not for the rain, they might have made it. You never know.
I think it's the extra protein that they got from Nandini that really gave them a fiery performance in this World Cup. Very unfortunate that they missed out and couldn't make it into the Super 8, but really brilliant show from Scotland.
For sure. Like, two notable performances would obviously be the matches against England and Australia. You had a 10 overs match reduced, and these guys went on to score 100 without losing a single wicket against the likes of Jofra Archer, Mark Wood, and Adil Rashid, Chris Jordan. All these guys in the team, none of them able to take a wicket. And then against the Aussies, it got this close, and it needed a bit of a Marcus Stoinis magic to pull them across
Was
the
it
line.
the Josh Hazelwood script?
Probably, you never know.
Dropping 5 catches in a game, losing and giving easy wickets.
Yeah, I mean, see, it is very possible that the Aussies pulled off a a closer match than what was expected, just to make England's chances a little lesser. But irrespective, it's not easy for a team like Scotland to put on a show like that against the Aussies. So even with ordinary bowling from the Australians and ordinary fielding from their side, they still put on a really solid show. So yeah, Josh Hazelwood, good script.
Both of the script didn't work. Neither did England or Australia make it to the finals, not go past the final hurdle. So Australia would be pretty happy with that since their arch rivals
Yeah.
couldn't go ahead.
I mean, yeah, look, in 2022, we were all supporting England in the finals because nobody wants Pakistan to win. And you look at the same scene in 2023, Australia would have been supporting us so that they didn't want England to win.
Fair enough.
Simple. Thank you, Aussies.
Yeah. See you in the next
World Test Championship.
Final. Yeah. Moving on to Namibia. That first game.
First game was good.
That first game was probably
The David Weiss carry with both bat and ball. And the fact that they also had a super over so early in the tournament was really good to see. But the fact that they had it against a team that is not at the same level as those guys, it was, again, a World Cup of upsets here and there. But they did manage to pull through on a David Weiss clutch.
again RCB blood.
Again, RCB blood, yes, indeed. Everybody's RCB blood at this point.
Yeah. So Namibia, I think that opening game was, if not one of the best games in this World Cup.
For sure. Netherlands are in tournaments just so that they can bring the Bijas into South African mouths. And it almost happened again this time. They did give them a bit of a scare, but a small David Miller clutch happened and South Africa managed to get through.
But let's talk about how Rudolf van der Merwe missed out on this World Cup. It's because he had a county contract signed and he hadn't fulfilled the contract requirements, and therefore England didn't allow van der Merwe to play the World Cup. It could have been probably his last World Cup.
Probably, yeah, for sure.
Nonetheless, England being England.
I mean, shit happens. That's how cricket is. Why would you want to sign a county contract when you have a T20 World Cup coming up in the same duration?
Yeah.
All good.
Thank you,
Okay.
Rudolf van der Merwe. See you in Legends League cricket.
Indeed, yes.
Let's move on to the disappointments from our bottom nation.
The
Sri
top
Lanka.
two disappointments of this World Cup, one more disappointing than the other, and we're not talking about Pakistan because that was expected of them. Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka just became Namo Namo Mata.
Namo Namo Mata, indeed. And ever since Malinga's retirement, similar to Ireland going downhill with the O'Brien brothers retiring, Malinga's retirement has resulted in a downhill track for Sri Lanka as well.
Sri Lanka has gone so much downhill that you can't find any more downhill over there. But honestly, why are they playing cricket?
No, look, Sri Lanka's cricket is at the same level as their economy right now.
I think their economy is at least trying to get back, but I don't see any getting back over here. I think probably Sri Lankans stood longer in the national anthem than their opening games.
Fair. But yeah, Sri Lanka was disappointing. They lost games that we could have seen them win. Losing to Bangladesh isn't really something that the Sri Lankans would have liked, because I was actually surprised there was no Nagin dancing afterwards.
Yeah, there was no Nagin dancing. This was not like a typical Sri Lanka-Bangladesh game. There was no rivalry. Something is missing.
Something's missing.
That's why I need more games in subcontinent.
Indeed. And New Zealand on the other side, the nice guys,
Nice guys.
didn't have all that nice of a tournament this time, unfortunately. But for some reason, it was kind of expected, because the New Zealanders were coming off of a season for CSK.
It's very understandable that they had the influence from the Yellow Army and they
Yeah, they got this close to qualifying and did not end up qualifying. Very similar to another script that we'd seen earlier, maybe
Yeah.
2 months ago.
Yeah. So, but the New Zealand, I think they got hammered and they were out in the first game. Taliban.
For sure, yeah. Afghanistan
They
really pulled it
hammered
together. Gurbaz and Zadran did pull it together, and we'll get to how insanely good Afghanistan was. But yeah, that's
Is it the end of road for Kane Williamson in T20s?
as a captain for sure. He hung up his boots as a captain, but I still think Kane Williamson can go on for another 2 years in T20s. Everyone else who retired this time could have also gone on for a couple of years more, but in terms of Indian cricket, you have people retiring because there's new talent to come. It's not the same in New Zealand cricket because it's hard to find similar talents to replace the quality of.
It's hard to find even people in their island.
Correct, yeah. I mean, the population over there itself is top class.
Yeah, but what happened to Kyle Jamieson?
What happened to Kyle Jamieson? Once upon a time, he was getting 14 crores from a certain franchise that I would not like to name. And then one season later, everything was downhill. And it's very weird because usually you see players finish their careers in RCB and become good players afterwards. But this was one of those rare cases like Devdutt Padikkal. Everything went the opposite direction for Kyle Jamieson.
Yeah. If you find Kyle Jamieson, please report to Lost and Found. Even we are trying to search him.
Indeed.
Yeah. Let's go to the park.
Park.
The New York
Temporary.
Nassau County Park.
As Rishabh Pant once said very wisely, we have a temporary stadium here, guys. Have you ever heard of a temporary stadium? Ever?
I think this is something we have heard before. Yeah. But what do you think about New York?
Trash.
Trash. White trash.
White, I mean, hey.
American trash. Not white trash. American trash.
No colors. Namge gottilla.
But honestly, white trash. There was so much of a build-up on how they prepared the pitches, how people were bought from Adelaide, giving you an idea of the pitches could be like the Australian wickets. But
There's a very key factor that they forgot to consider in terms of importing pitches from Adelaide, and that has to do with the conditions. If I take a blade of grass in a pot into the Sahara Desert, in 2 days that blade of grass will turn brown. Very similarly, if I take a nice, freshly prepared pitch from Adelaide and throw it into the United States, where the altitude is different, the conditions are different, the kind of rain you get there is different, the cloud cover is different, everything is completely different from what you get in Australia, where there is winter in summer. And they expect it to be a good Aussie pitch.
ironically enough, Aussies didn't play in New York.
Aussies didn't play in New York. And we saw Virat Kohli performing badly on an Adelaide pitch for the first time in our entire lives.
But that's fine. Now, the stadium again is under lost and found. If you find the stadium, please report.
Please let us know.
Yeah. Now it is back to its grounds. It's become a garden. Garden.
Yeah, but speaking of New York, you do have the USA team who actually ended up performing really well in that stadium.
And taking advantage of home conditions.
Home conditions indeed. And for some reason, we saw a really, really nice game take place between USA and Pakistan. It's almost like a reverse 9/11 fixture.
Yeah, it happened.
And
What a game.
What a game indeed, as Harsha Bogle would say. What a game, what a bowler, what a batter. Saurabh Netravalkar really pulled it back, and it wouldn't have been possible without the services of Professor Rauf.
Professor Rauf. Yeah, never disappoints Professor Rauf.
You know, after a situation where Mohammad Amir has bowled an over with, I think he gave 6 runs in that over.
Yeah, maybe less than 6. He nailed 4 back-to-back toe-crushing Yorkers.
Yeah, out of the 6 balls that he bowled, he managed to land 4 Yorkers. The 5th one was a low full toss, but that still didn't go anywhere. And after an over like that, Only Harris Ruff can pull it back and hand it to the United States.
No matter you have 26 runs to defend in last over, if you have even Ishan Sharma batting on the
The non-strikers.
the pressure is on Harris
The
Ruff.
pressure is always on Harris Ruff. Thank you, Professor, for giving us the game of a lifetime. And
That's super over.
that's super over, indeed.
Man, it's just super over. You got one job, just bowl 6 balls. But Mohammad Amir, you bowled 9 balls. That's 50% more than a super over.
Exactly.
Why don't you play a double super over and call it like I'm bowling 12 balls this over?
The number of wides that we saw, again, it's not just with Amir, it's also with the other bowlers. I think Naseem Shah was the best bowler on that day, if you take all 4 overs into consideration. But yeah, I wouldn't look at that game as an upset. It was very expected from Pakistan's side to bottle a game in a fashion that only Pakistan can bottle.
Sheer stupidity, yeah, from the captain.
Indeed. So now that we're looking at the USA, let's actually discuss a little bit of a conspiracy theory. Because was this entire World Cup just a PR and a media stunt? Because you have a team like the USA that's not played any cricket, any notable cricket, and hasn't been in the mix of things in terms of cricket for a really long time. And suddenly out of nowhere, you have them as the host nations, which gives them a free pass into the World Cup, along with the West Indies, of course. And you start to wonder why USA gets to have such a free pass into the World Cup. And that's when you remember that the 2028 Olympics has now included cricket as their new sport, which means you also have to harness the US audience, because which country has been the biggest performing country in the Olympics? The USA, with over I think 3,000 medals in their name.
Damn.
So with the kind of performance that they've had in the Olympics and the kind of revenue that they generate, with the kind of viewership that they're going to give you, it's necessary to harness your US audience. And more than anything else, that's what makes this entire World Cup a PR and a media stunt, and has nothing to do with USA being an actual good cricketing nation in terms of the host nation. And that's probably why you make them win so many games, because Americans are going to pay attention to a sport only when they're winning.
Yeah.
Jay Shah's script is just working, man.
Yeah, that worked. So people were not aware there was World Cup going on in New York, and then they see the USA going on to the Super 8s, and then suddenly all the West Indian flights are booked.
Yeah.
The Americans are traveling to the West Indies to support their nation. They don't know what's happening over there. It's just a bunch of 11 people.
Jay Shah success.
Yeah, it's just 11 people playing around with a bat and ball, with 9 of them watching the ball go past. But it's been a good success. From the PR perspective, they achieved good revenue. I mean, the tickets were for India Pakistan was like $10,000 on ICC website.
You look at the sponsors for the USA. Our very own Amul is technically BJP's very own Gujarati brand.
Yeah, it's everywhere you go, it's just us running cricket.
Yeah, so in the grand scheme of things, it really does look like a futuristic Jay Shah script.
Yeah, big win for India. Jay Shah is going international now. We have our wings spread across the world and now into the Americans. Yeah, that brings us, now we fly from New York. Before we fly, we close the ground, New York. And then
we close New York. We fly, we avoid tall buildings, and we land in the West Indies.
And we land in the West Indies. No. We had a stop in Florida.
Correct, Alva.
But sadly, boats weren't available, so we just went past West Indies. Yeah, Florida was flooded. Very sad for you, Florida. You missed a World Cup. Yeah.
I mean, rain.
Yeah, you'll see us play some India-West Indies series later. Yeah, come back then. So, going out of West Indies, Super 8s, host nations, the West Indies. This close. That was the difference of Obed McCoy bowling this big wides.
Shah Rukh Khan.
Yeah. Does he play for KKR or any Kolkata-based franchise?
RR.
Shilpa Shetty. Okay. Rajkot.
Okay.
Raj Kundra spreading his hands. Something that's not.
I mean, then again, he doesn't exactly play for RR because they
I
just
think he
bench him all
plays-
the time.
Yeah, I think he plays in SA20 for RR. Yeah.
Jay,
He was the differentiator. I think Roman Powell could have bowled that over, or Gudakesh Moti could have bowled that over.
could have been anyone, but it had to be Obed McCoy.
Yeah, Cow.
Yeah, Obed McCoy.
Obed McCow. He crushed the hopes of the host nations, West Indies, who were this close to qualifying after a long time going into the semis, and they could have had a go.
Yeah, and the West Indies in the semis and the finals, you really look at them as a completely different side whatsoever, irrespective of how they've played throughout the rest of the World Cup. And I say this because of Nicholas Pooran's performances. He had been very under par, and the only time he went past 50, he went to 98.
He
But
went
everything
hammered.
else were really tiny 30s, 20s, and maybe sometimes even 2s and 3s.
He was struggling. He was playing at 100 strike rate, and then you see he going for blasting 2 6s to make off that strike rate. So, but good job, West Indies. Compared to 2022, you're better. You have pulled your pants. Hopefully, we see you perform well in India in 2026. So
Indeed.
that moves us to Australia, who made this whole World Cup entertaining.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you, Mr. Marsh.
yeah,
You made it
script-wise, very entertaining. But Aussies, it's weird because you have Mitch Marsh, who's the captain of the side, and somehow Pat Cummins is still the one receiving all the hate for the Australian team's losses.
You see the impact that Pat Cummins has done. Australia lost, and all the hate was Pat Cummins. But man of gold and 2 back-to-back hat tricks in a World Cup.
Yeah, I mean that is crazy.
You can never take Pat Cummins out of this game. You may take
Indeed.
this game out of this game, but Pat Cummins is always in the game.
But no, I mean, maybe the fact that Mitch Marsh was captain is something that will go under the radar, largely because of what Pat Cummins has done over the past 1 year, even in the IPL.
I'll tell the reasons why Australia and England couldn't make it into the semi-finals. There was a certain 6'6" tall guy sitting in the bench, warming the bench. White, tall, hot Cameron Green.
RCB blood.
RCB blood. You didn't play him, Australia.
Yeah.
You didn't play him. You played poor Mitch Marsh.
As captain.
Now you are paying your costs. And England, you had Will Jacks. And you're playing.
Yeah,
Johnny
look,
Bairstow in
I'd
2024.
say dropping Will Jacks in terms of his performances on the slower pitches in the beginning of the tournament was a very, very poor choice from their side, because you can't expect much from Moeen Ali in terms of batting. And something that England walked in with at the start of the tournament, which is the most explosive batting lineup that could have taken the World Cup home for the second time in a row. They completely ruined that by playing Moeen Ali at 3.
Yeah, if you have Moeen Ali and Liam Livingstone coming in at 7, you're getting nothing.
Yeah, because imagine a batting lineup which could have been Phil Salt, Josh Butler, Will Jacks, Johnny Bairstow, Liam Livingstone,
Let's take out
and
Johnny
Harry
Bairstow.
Brook.
Harry Brook, make him come up the order.
So you have a fiery looking top 6, and you decide to remove Will Jacks and play Moeen Ali at 3, which completely takes away the momentum from your game.
Yeah, you pay your prices, that's your cost. You lost the World Cup. Now we know that for us we plays in the World Cup. Yeah. Moving on to the 3-way battle in the last game of the
Indeed.
Super 8s. It's Bangladesh, it's Australia, and the
Taliban.
Afghanistan fighting for that second spot.
Yeah, and I think
By far the most entertaining game.
for sure, hands down. And you look at the performances that Afghanistan put through in that specific match and the one against the Aussies.
There was a batting collapse.
Yeah, there was a batting collapse, and they still managed to pull it forward with Gulbuddin of all things. And
Yeah, that reminds
you'd have to categorize this.
Oscar-winning acting of
Oh
Gulbuddin.
yeah, the Oscars, of course. Because you're getting clouds It's just about to start raining. You are 2 runs ahead in terms of DLS. And just to keep yourself safe, the coach shows up. He says this. He says, slow it down. And Gulbuddin almost instantly says, yes, boss, and holds his leg and falls to the floor. And when later in the match, when Afghanistan actually managed to win, Gulbuddin was the fastest player on the ground ever.
I mean,
as Muhammad Rizwan had stated long ago, sometime corrupt, sometime acting.
But honestly, I think I need that physio's number. I'm having a lot of back pain.
Indeed.
So maybe he can cure me in that.
Yeah, Najif.
Yeah. So, Bangladesh, do you think Bangladesh had a chance? They were in the game.
Look, Bangladesh in a World Cup, they're just there to give us free points, okay? Free points to every person that plays against Bangladesh. And they've been playing cricket for the longest time, and it's very disappointing to see that they've made no progress whatsoever. I think the greatest moment in Bangladesh cricket history was when they beat Sri Lanka and did the Nagin dance.
Yeah, where was the dance?
Where was the dance this time, Bangladesh?
Where was the Tigers?
Meow
See you next
meow.
time in India. Need more thrills.
Right, so
Now we go to the semi-finals. Now we fly to Guyana. Sadly enough, there was no flight from Barbados to Guyana or Guyana to Barbados except for the teams that were flying.
exactly.
What about the fans?
What about the fans? How
Maybe
are
you
we?
take a boat, put them on a slow boat, and you'll end up in the South America. I mean, until 2024, until the game happened in Guyana, I didn't know where this Guyana existed. I thought somewhere in between North America and South America, but it's part of South America. Very surprising.
Yeah, we learn a bit of geography every now and then. All good.
Yeah. Every day we learn something and we move. But England, that was proper revenge for 2020.
22 semis, yeah. I would have liked to see us pull it off without losing a single wicket, because that would have made it a little bit sweeter in terms of victory. But still, it was a good show with the bat. And what about Bumrah's delivery to Phil Salt?
Man, what a ball, what a bowler.
What a ball, what a bowler.
That's it.
Hashtag.
But it was a good pitch that Jay Shah gave. It was turning, and we saw typical Michael Vaughan cry in the Twitter after the game.
You know, every time there is a match between any match that involves
That's not
England,
even a match.
forget about India. Forget
Every time the ball turns.
Yeah. If there is even a hint of turn, you will automatically see Michael Vaughan show up and start crying about life, pitches, and lack of bitches.
Yeah. On Michael Vaughan. See you in 2026. So, good luck England. You didn't play Will Jacks. You pay the price. We go to the finals. And
what a final that was.
what a final. Let that sink in.
Yeah. So that's... The final is something that we have to look at in very close detail, because as any other knockout game that's existed for India, we had another collapse.
Yeah, before that, both the teams going into the finals without losing a single match. And let's talk about Aiden Markram's record as a captain in ICC tournaments. Hadn't lost a single game until the finals.
Yeah, he's played the Under 19 World Cup, and he won the tournament over there without losing a single match. He played the World Cup in 2023 as captain for 2 games, didn't lose any of those 2 matches.
In place my apologies to you.
I really want to take one small moment to apologize to Temba Babuma. We did not know, we were not familiar with your game. Teresa Hendricks really showed us that you only miss the sun when it starts to snow.
Yeah, we would like to see you back.
Please come back. Also, it was very weird to see Ryan Rickleton warm the bench for the entire tournament.
Typical SA.
South Africa, a little too much backing for Reza Hendricks in my opinion, but yeah, Aiden Markram has come into the final without losing a single game. Similar case with Rohit Sharma, a clean record up until this moment, and within the
What a script indeed.
And that brings into question Risa Hendricks's continuous failures, and you start to wonder if there was an opportunity for Ryan Rickleton to come in and play instead. I know he's going to give you the same dimensions as Quinton de Kock. He's a left-handed batter. He's a wicket keeper as well. So I know they're ideally looking at Rickleton as a backup player for de Kock. But if you're having someone like a Risa Hendricks who's not able to score a single run, then would it not make more sense to play a Rickleton instead?
Yeah, only SA can go back and regret, that's all. So, moving ahead, let's talk about the brilliant contribution from Akshar Patel.
Indeed, yeah.
I mean, Kohli eased it upon Akshar when he came in to bat. I think India was 30 for 3. 30 for 3, and then Akshar just took on every single bowler, going on to play the slog sweep and every other shot. The ball was flying, and in return, the game was eased upon Kohli later.
No, I mean, you have a certain template that Kohli was following. In my opinion, I think the way Kohli was batting with his given template, he needed someone like Akshar Patel to come in and accelerate on one side, because Kohli is the kind of player who is going to keep the middle overs a little quiet and only accelerate in the last 4 or 5 overs. So given that scenario, Akshar Patel's innings was pretty crucial for the team's run rate.
Yeah, but what about the middle overs where 30 odd balls, no single boundary was scored by Kohli? I think Kohli is 50 at 48 balls.
50 or 48, yeah. And in any other game, it would make no sense. But given that this was happening in Barbados, your average score in Barbados is anything between 165 to 170. So having an above average score in the finals automatically makes it a winning score, and maybe that's what was going through Kohli's head as well, to take the team to 170 and then after that point see how much further they can get. So as long as they were in a good position to get to 170, I think he didn't want to take too many risks.
Yeah, he played a typical Kohli fashion innings, slowly consolidate, anchor the innings, and then go bang bang on Rabada and Jansen. Those were some crisp shots.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great shots. And finally, Dubey clutched.
Dubey clutched.
Finally.
Dubey
finally clutched, and I think it was a good score. And credit to Barbados and the groundsmen over there. They
sure,
gave
absolutely.
a very good batting track, not like 2023. Good batting track. This is how finals will be interesting when we have a neutral wicket.
Yeah.
So South Africa also came in a good way.
Of course, Bumrah's ball to Risa Hendricks, very similar to what we saw with Phil Salt in the previous game. The ball coming in, and I think Navjot Singh Sidhu, not Sidhu, Shrikant actually called it on commentary. He said, so like Chika was sitting in the Tamil commentary panel, and he said something along the lines of, the ball is going to come in, he's going to look to bring it back in, and it's either going to be a bowled or an LBW right on middle stump. And that's almost exactly what Bumrah produced in the very next ball, and the commentators that were next to Chika, both of them fell at his feet.
That's how predictable Risa Hendricks was. To sum it up, it's not Bumrah's greatness, it's Risa Hendricks. Bumrah is elite, but it's Risa Hendricks.
Risa Hendricks. But yeah, that kind of set the tone for us, and Markram departing shortly after, and then slowly you saw de Kock putting together a very similar structured innings, and he was just trying to negotiate the run rate a little bit, and then you had Klaasen come in after a point and
Klaasen
completely obliterate our bowling attack.
He has seen this team choke and heard the things that this team has gone through, but he comes in there, stands and delivers. What were those shots? Everything just flying out of the park.
Some of those shots were unreal. The shots that he played towards covers and point, those were insanely good pieces of
Those
timing.
back foot lofted cover drive sixes.
Yeah,
Only Klassen can play those hammering shots.
really good. So yeah, at that point, I think all of us were.
I think he bought the game once it was very out of reach for South Africa.
It was out of reach. It was
12, required rate was
Yeah.
12, and then he bought it to 6 runs in over.
Yeah,
And
so-
then South Africa being South Africa, choked.
Yeah. So I think you'd want to look at that as a comparative analysis, right? We did criticize Kohli for playing slowly and we said 170 is a good enough score. And a lot of people say they just required 30 of 30, and if South Africa hadn't choked, then that 30 of 30 was very gettable, which it was. But you need to look at how it was before the 30 of 30. Your required run rate wasn't 6, it was double of that.
12, yeah.
So from a situation like that, both Akshar and Kuldeep going for really expensive 20 plus overs is what caused the run rate to come down to 30 of 30 in the first place.
I think it was that credit to Rishabh Pant for calling the physio in to tape his leg.
Yeah.
That broke the momentum.
Anything that you can do to break the momentum is always
Yeah.
going to help you.
We have seen this happen a lot of times in IPL. And
Drinks
lot-
breaks,
Yeah.
physio breaks, this concussion breaks, anything
Clearly,
and everything
Klassen
can
lost
help
the
you.
momentum
Yeah.
and Hardik clutched.
They clutched.
Hard clutch.
No, but before we get to Hardik, let's talk about the death overs bowling from both Bumrah and Arshdeep. Before you could see Hardik come in the 20th over, you needed some really good tight bowling from both Arshdeep and Bumrah. It was expected of Bumrah, but you never knew how it would go with Arshdeep. And Miller did send him for a 6 off his first ball, right?
Yeah.
Was it a 6 or a 4?
I think it went over the leg side.
Something
Top
around
corner,
fine leg, square leg area. Yeah, so once that shot went to the boundary, we're like, nah, we might be screwed over here. But Arshdeep to like pull it back to show us that the Punjab cows are only in Canada this time.
Great stuff from Ashley.
Good stuff from him. And
he stuck with his strengths, bowled his lengths. So, all in all, it went well for Ashdeep. Then you had the final over of Hardik.
Now, you need to take into consideration that Hardik, before coming into this final over, has had 2 months of absolute hell. for everything that he'd experienced from the Wankhede crowd side. And suddenly the entire nation's hope is on his shoulders. So if he screws it up, he's going to walk back and receive more abuse from Mumbai. If he doesn't screw it up, he's going to walk back a hero. And we saw how it ended up. We saw the kind of catch that Suryakumar Yadav took. And under pressure, I think that's one of the best catches of the tournament for sure.
And he caught the World Cup.
He caught the World Cup for sure. Like, unlike
The scenario would be extremely different. So 5 ball 10.
yeah,
You
look,
were six- you were 16 of six.
all you need to look at is South Africa lost by 7 runs. Thala for a reason.
Yeah. We are recording this episode on the eve of Thala's happy birthday.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy birthday, Thala. Yeah.
HBD.
So, but if that had gone to a 6, Miller would be on next level confidence.
Exactly.
5 of 10, it's like 2 balls of cakewalk for him.
Yeah. So, considering the fact that South Africa lost by 7 runs, if you deduct that 6, it's only a 1 run difference. And if you negate the wicket, which is essentially a dot ball by itself, you're looking at a complete 17 run over for South Africa.
Yeah. But big time Hardik clutched, and
For sure.
he's proven why he's clutch god of Indian cricket. We are
Yeah.
saying clutch
Look,
god
I
of
think
Indian
the 2 greatest games that have happened for India over the past 2 World Cups, one against Pakistan and one against South Africa in the finals. Kohli is credited for the Pakistan win. Bumrah is credited for the win against South Africa. But both of these masterclasses required the assist of a lifetime, which came from Hardik Pandya in both those scenarios.
Yeah, He casually comes, drops a banger final.
And all, yeah, that's all it takes.
That's all it takes. And then we saw legends announce their retirement, which was we saw it coming.
We saw it coming. Again, in case of Kohli and Jadeja, I didn't think that they would retire. If you'd asked me at the start of this World Cup, I would have said, bro, they can go on for another World Cup. They have enough fitness left in them. But given that they won this World Cup, they had their chance to finish it at a fairy tale ending. And unlike some other people, they chose to take that chance.
Yeah. And sometimes the chance is good enough.
That chance is good enough.
And having the bigger picture in mind, the transition should happen. Very right moment to...
I completely agree with whatever Virat said during the post-match presentation, because it is time to step away and give chances for the younger generation in T20s because of how they've been performing in the IPL. You have really heavy talents like Abhishek Sharma, Yashasvi Jaiswal. Yeah, they've all... Riyan Parag's also coming up now. So you'd want to make space in the team for talents like these, because you look at the
format is very quickly, rapidly changing
Exactly.
and evolving format, and it needs to. It's the right time to hand it over to the younger generation.
Absolutely.
Who have been playing T20 cricket at a different level. Yeah. And then the hurricane in Barbados made the
hurricane,
Indian team
yeah.
wait for 4 days, and finally we get to watch the Indian team land in India. What a welcome in Delhi and Mumbai. But amidst all this, in the air, we saw two losers who got to post the picture of World Cup and say it's coming home. I thought Mitchell Marsh putting up his leg on the World Cup, 23 World Cup, was
very disrespectful indeed.
But Jesha is like, hold my beer. We have better disrespect we'll be showing you for the World Cup, and he handed the trophy to two bunch of sore losers. If you're listening, you're sore losers. What a disgrace, what a shame. You're asking to hold the trophy for a picture and say it's coming home as if you played and took the Surya Kumar Yadav's catch. Shame on you.
Yeah, look, at the start of the tournament, there were talks from him saying if both Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma play, then forget about the World Cup, because they're going to give you nothing in terms of the bat.
Yeah, you know who, Mumbai Lobby.
But the fact that he picked up that trophy in the end and took a picture with it and posed as if he hadn't said anything against them in the first place, that just goes to show the two-faced duality of certain commentators.
But let's just touch upon the rise and the greatness of Hardik. He left the World Cup from Mumbai with all the hate in the world against him. Lot of questions.
All the hate in the world. There's issues going on with his family. He's mentally in probably the worst space you could ever see for a cricketer.
Questions asked against his selection in the side.
Yeah.
Can he bowl? Can he bowl 4 overs? Can he bat? Can he go hit a 6? Can he clutch? And then you see him return home to the same place where he left, with the trophy on his shoulders, with the whole Mumbai Marine Drive crowd chanting his name.
And the entire Wankhede cheering his name is... It gives you a different feeling of emotion, because every single cheer is a loud apology for every single boo that he got during the IPL.
Yeah.
So that is something that was really nice to see. The crowd is finally recognizing that Hardik wasn't at fault for anything that happened earlier, and they will now know where to draw the line between sarcastic memes and actual trolls that are going to affect the players negatively in terms of their gameplay, their emotions,
but
and
that's
their
something
mindset.
I like about the Mumbai crowd. They really love their cricket.
They do.
When it's not right, they boo. When it's right, they hang up their hands and say, "We have a loud apology for you." That's something I like.
It was good to see from them. They are without a doubt probably one of the top crowds within the country. And I was actually surprised that they organized the World Cup final in freaking Narendra Modi Stadium instead. With the level of iconic history that goes behind Wankhede, it was a surprise. But again, you look at the whole celebration that happened at the Marine Drive. Rohit Sharma has walked in. And, okay, before we get to the Marine Drive celebration, there was one picture that was clicked at the airport of Rohit Sharma holding up the trophy like this. All you can see is his hand and a huge crowd in the background, and that is one of the coldest pictures to go down in cricket history.
Yeah, absolutely. And
because there were doubts about Rohit Sharma as well, okay?
yeah, there was a lot of questions.
Because of the past 7 World Cups that he's 8 World Cups that he's played before this, you'd not seen him perform at all in 8 editions of the World Cup, and people were questioning his ability with the bat, but he came out guns blazing.
He played responsibly this time.
He played very responsibly. Like, unlike his overhyped intent merchant scenario from the 2023 World Cup, his role in the 2024 T20 World Cup was much more impactful. He had knocks against
that Australian knock.
That Australian knock. That was personal. Yeah, he took it on a very personal level, and we loved it.
To Pat Cummins
The sweep
was personal.
So that was a good knock. He produced a very masterful innings against England as well in the semis, with Suryakumar Yadav supporting him on one side. So yes, he didn't get it going in the finals, but I think India getting until the finals is something that was something that Rohit Sharma really deserves credit for.
Yeah, finally the monkey is off his back.
He is off his back.
And the Legends retire with an ICC trophy. Good for them, but after winning the World Cup trophy, we saw Jay Shah lifting the trophy more times than the entire team itself.
No, like when Rohit Sharma came in with the trophy like this, and then
on that note, he tried mimicking Messi and it got credited to Ric Flair.
Yeah. No, and when he's lifting the trophy up, Jay Shah wasn't able to take his hands off of the trophy. And again, back when they were in the Wankhede, when every player came and shook hands with Jay Shah, the moment where Virat Kohli shook hands with Jay Shah and Jay Shah just couldn't stop staring at Kohli and forgot to shake hands with Bumrah after that.
That's us, Jay Shah.
That's us, man. I completely relate to it.
20 years down the line, if somebody watches the footage of Wankhede and the celebrations that India had after the victory of 2024 World Cup, people would obviously think Jay Shah was the captain of the Indian team. He's the captain. He
is. Technically, he is.
Yeah.
He's the captain of not just the Indian team, but of cricket across the globe.
Yeah, he runs the cricket.
He runs cricket. He is cricket.
He's a powerful man.
Jay Shah is cricket. Cricket is Jay Shah. Script is script. Absolute cinema.
Yeah. That brings us to the end of this episode. So, wonderful World Cup. Something to cherish for many, many years to come. And on that note, we're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back, boys.
We're back. So, we shall see you in the next episode soon. Until then, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell icon. Do everything. Comment.
Follow us on you know the Instagram, LinkedIn, Spotify.
It's dead now.
Tumblr.
You know what to do. So,
you know the drill,
keep sharing,
lads.
keep liking, keep supporting. We shall see you in the next episode. Until then, peace.
Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka.